Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you a video today talking about cutting the collar off a pair of mid-cut soccer cleats / football boots from Nike. More specifically, why you shouldn't do this. Now, be it the Obra, the Superfly, or the Phantom, some people have the idea that it's a good thing to cut the collar off of one of these mid-cut shoes, being that they do have this little collar extension piece. Now, some pros have done it, some people have done it. I've seen pictures on social media. It gets all the oohs and ahs, but it's a really, really bad idea, and I'm going to explain why that is in today's video. So if you are at all thinking about doing this, or perhaps you just want to know why it's such a bad idea, stick around. I'm going to explain everything in this video. Reason number one as to why you shouldn't cut the collar off of your mid-cut Nike shoes is the fact that it doesn't change anything in regards to the fit or feel of the shoe. The collar is just an extension piece, and it's very, very true that if you cut the collar off, the shoe is still 100% wearable for a short period of time, which again I'll explain a little bit later. So the collar doesn't need to be here for the sake of this particular design functioning properly. The reason why the collar is there is one, for looks, and two, because it's something that kind of sets Nike apart from the other brands, at least at the moment. There's a big desire for these mid-cut shoes. They are the most expensive shoes on the market, and a lot of people are willing to pay the most expensive price to get these. It's, like I said, one of the most popular trends in soccer cleats at the moment, and Nike does have the highest collar from all the brands currently out there. So cutting it off, like I said, doesn't change anything. The main reason why I think you might want to cut it off is because you don't like the way the shoe fits in the heel area. And I guess logically to some people that would just, you'd assume that cutting the collar off would change that. Well, unfortunately, guys, it isn't. The reason why it's a little bit uncomfortable in the heel, depending on how the shoes fit you, is just because of this mid-cut design, because of this knitted upper. The fit in the heel, the construction of the heel is a little bit different than a traditional low-cut shoe. So again, cutting off this extension piece that essentially is just an extra piece of material wrapping your ankle does not change the comfort level, it does not change the fit in the heel whatsoever. Another thing to keep in mind is that this collar, whether or not you've worn a pair of mid-cut shoes or not, honestly doesn't impact the feel of the shoe that much. I'm sure a lot of you guys watching this video either have or have worn mid-cut shoes from Nike, and I would say 99% of you would probably agree with me that maybe for the first 20 minutes of wearing them, you notice the collar, but after that, it completely disappears while you're playing. It doesn't restrict movement. It doesn't restrict mobility. It doesn't restrict anything. It's just a piece that's there that you stop noticing entirely once you get used to the shoes after, again, 20 minutes or so. So cutting it off for the sake of improvements in comfort is not true whatsoever. There's really, like I said, no reason to cut off the collar in terms of how that's going to impact the feel of the shoe. Reason two, you've wrecked your shoe if you cut the collar off. Now, you have to consider this. This is a fully knitted upper. The upper is entirely one piece, meaning that this thread is technically connected to the rest of the upper. So if a thread is pulled, it technically could unravel from there the entire upper. That's not necessarily going to happen if you just cut off the collar, but the area around will very, very quickly start to open up, start to fray, and you're going to have some issues. So, like I said, cutting off this collar, there's not really a way to cut it off and then seal all of the edges, especially because this is an elasticated area of material. So because it's elasticated, there is constant tension within the actual knitted structure of the collar and the upper itself. Now, this is a fly knit material that Nike spent years and years developing, not necessarily because they didn't have the idea for it, but because they had to actually create the manufacturing process, the machines, to actually make these uppers possible. This knitting is so tight, so complex, that they actually have to have a special machine that they developed over years and years and years to build this in the first place. So if you think that just taking a pair of scissors and cutting it off isn't going to impact the rest of the structure on the shoe, you're absolutely crazy. So again, if you really want to spend $300 on a pair of shoes and then completely go and wreck it and potentially have it unravel from the heel forward, go ahead, be my guest, do that, cut the collar off. But like I said, if you're trying to buy $200-300 shoes and have them last for any significant amount of time at all, I would recommend not cutting the collar off. The third and final reason as to why you shouldn't cut the collar off your mid-cut Nike boots is that it voids the manufacturer's warranty. For those that don't know, when you do buy a high-end Nike product, when you buy a high-end product from any brand for that matter, there is a manufacturer's warranty. So should you buy this shoe and 2 weeks later, the stud falls off, the upper separates from the sole plate, something goes wrong with the shoe from a durability standpoint, you can contact Nike's warranty department, send your shoes in. They'll basically confirm that something has gone wrong with your shoes, and they'll give you a voucher or send you a completely new pair of shoes depending on what country you're in. It has a different policy in different parts of the world. But nonetheless, like I said, if something goes wrong and it's a manufacturing defect, something that's Nike's fault, not your fault, they'll replace the product for you, which is very, very good. If you cut the collar off your shoe, you have voided the manufacturer's warranty. And the way that works is if you alter the product from how you bought it, aside from just wearing them and getting them dirty, you have voided your warranty. So cutting the collar off, blacking out the shoes in any way is a great example of voiding the warranty. You can't alter the shoe in any way for the manufacturer's warranty to be valid at all. So again, when you cut the collar off your shoe and shortly after it starts to fray away and basically just come apart at the heel area, if you go to try to send it back to Nike, unfortunately, your manufacturer's warranty is completely voided. It's no good, and you've ruined your $300 pair of shoes. And there's really nothing that you can do about it. And you can't really blame a brand like Nike for saying no to a warranty claim if, again, you've completely cut off a part of the upper. So that's something that's really, really important to note. And again, if you're spending big money on these mid-cut models from Nike because they are expensive, you want that manufacturer's warranty, because if something does go wrong, it's going to save you buying a new pair of shoes. You can send it back, get a new pair, and it's something that you don't really have to worry about too much. Alright guys, so that is it for why you shouldn't cut the collar off of your Obras, Superflies, or Phantom 2s. I gave you the reasons why you shouldn't. You can do it if you want. I just don't think it's a particularly great idea. Obviously, some professional players do this still, and probably will continue to do it. They're professional players. They have an abundance of shoes, so if they wreck one pair, it's not that big of a deal to them. And for those that say Ronaldo wears an altered variation of the Superfly, his isn't a true mid-cut, he's not actually cutting the shoes themselves. They're actually being made custom by Nike for him with kind of a half-length collar. So again, unfortunately, these aren't available in low-cut variations. That would be really, really cool if Nike did allow or produced the mid-cut Flyknit uppers with a low-cut design. That would be very, very cool. But until that actually happens, you're just going to have to live with the current mid-cut variations that are available and get used to the collar that, like I mentioned, doesn't really take that long to get used to. So that's pretty much it in terms of what I have to say on the topic. If you have any questions on today's video, leave them down below in the comments and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.